You remember Nick Refn? Nick Refn came on the show several years ago. Pusher was a film that Nick Refn made back in the 90s originally, story of a Copenhagen drug dealer. Copenhagen? Varg, yeah, okay. Who gets caught up in this bungle drug deal, finds himself owing a mobster a huge amount of money, very small amount of time to pay it back, clock is ticking. What happened was that the original film was kind of stripped down and very stylish, made for a small amount of money. I mean, Refn comes from filmmaking stock anyway. And it had a great cast. I mean, Mads Mikkelsen was in there as one of the supporting roles. And it was a really good calling card movie. And he then went off to America to make Fear X, this film with John Turturro, which very few people saw, but I really liked, but it didn't make any money at all. And as a result of things not going the way that they should have done, he ended up making sequels to Pusher 2 and Pusher 3. And then now, of course, has become part of the Hollywood gentry establishment with Drive, which, of course, was a terrific film, which was, lauded with awards, and particularly well at the BAFTAs, obviously was, noted in the Oscars. There's already been a UK remake of Pusher, which was made in Hindi. Now we have a sort of full-on remake of Pusher set in London, for which Nick Refn is the executive producer. And the story is very, very close to the original. You have a drug dealer, a drug deal goes wrong. He ends up owing actually the same guy who played the gangster in the original film, huge amount of money. Clock is ticking, has to figure out how to get the money paid back as time gets shorter and shorter. And the strange thing about a Pusher is this. There's been a sort of lot of discussion about whether or not, if you've seen the original Nick Refn Pusher, what's the difference with this? And it is slicker and more stylish and, slightly flashier. And some people have said this is the film that Refn would have made had he made Pusher now. Actually, it's more accurate to say that it's the film. It looks like a film that was made by somebody who's trying to make the kind of film that Drive was, but doing it on a limited budget now. I mean, it's a very, very close facsimile of the original. Strangely enough, the geographical change, bringing it, across the channel, bringing it to London, hasn't made a huge amount of difference. It still does look like a European movie. It has some, solid performances in it, and it's played with conviction. But there's that peculiar sense of déjà vu, which is that if you've been around the block with movies and you saw Pusher 1, Pusher 2, Pusher 3, and you now see it again, you think that's fine. It's a solidly put together thriller. I'm just not sure what it brings to the table that is new, because the argument is, well, what it brings to the table is that it's there for the audience that didn't see the first one. I'm just never sure whether that in itself is reason enough to remake something. But it's not bad. It's just really remarkably unremarkable in how far it hasn't diverged from the original.